Hey guys, welcome to lesson 4, building chapters. So today we're going to break down each individual key that you need to solve your readers' problems and meet their transformation. So we're going to break down each individual key and see how it's going to serve as the outline for each chapter. So we'll kind of get right into it. How are we going to break this down? How is your one person going to use each chapter to solve their problem? You have to decide, is it going to build on each other where chapter 1 starts the process and chapter 10 finishes it? Are these chapters going to be standalone? You need to decide that and how it fits into the overall transformation of your book. But let's just talk about a few examples. So we're going to use back pain. I'm a physical therapist, so it's easier for me to talk about that than a lot of other things. So back pain problems, patients can't sit, they can't stand, they can't walk, they can't sleep, they can't work, and they can't do the hobbies that they want to do. They can't go to church, they can't go to movies, whatever it is that they enjoy doing. So what are the solutions for that? Well, can sit, can stand, can walk, can sleep, work, and do their hobbies. So how are we going to turn this into a chapter? Probably not going to title our chapters "You Can Sit Again" or "You Can Stand Again." That's probably not going to work real well. But let's think about why they can't sit. They could have tight muscles, they could have pinched nerves, they could have, ergonomics, weak muscles, poor posture, whatever it is, and the list goes on and on and on. But those are the reasons why they can't sit. Same thing for standing. It goes tight muscles, pinched nerve, whatever it is. And then we'll say walking, what if they have radicular pain that goes down their legs? What if they get worse by standing and extension? What if they have a fear of falling because maybe they're elderly and they've fallen a couple of times? Maybe they're young and they've fallen a couple of times. And then what if they just have a lot of weakness? And again, there's so many other things that can go into this list. Sleeping, same thing. Pain, fearful, unsure. So why can't they work? Well, they're not sleeping at night. They can't do their lifting. They can't walk. They can't sit. They're fearful of working because they don't want to get injured anymore. They've already lost time at work. So now you're going to go back and they're just going to be miserable. And then they can't do their hobbies because they're not working. They can't afford to do anything. They're fearful of getting back on the track and running. We have so many people that have been told, don't ever run again because your knees are shot, or don't ever do this again for whatever reason. So they have that constant future worry, and then they just don't know how to adjust. All of these things, as a physical therapist, I can help people with, and whatever medical professional you are, you can help them as well. So we have to answer each problem, and then that's going to be a chapter. In this case, we're having different talks about back pain. Now, if you wanted to get super specific and talk about extension-based back pain or flexion-based back pain and only write a book on that, man, you can do that as well because there's plenty of information. But if just for this example, we're going to go into some different things. So we can break it down into common diagnoses of back pain: scoliosis, spondylolisthesis, disc protrusion. I know I didn't put that on there. Stenosis, and whatever it is, sciatica. We can put that in there. We can describe each diagnosis. We can treat each diagnosis. Tell them what exercises, stretches, behavior, assistive device, whatever it is that you're going to tell them. We can all put that in your book, and we can have a chapter on each if we need it, or we can have little subplots to each chapter. So I wanted to kind of give you guys a chapter outline example. I feel like I'm kind of rushing through this one, but I don't want to make things any more complicated than they have to be, and this is really not that complicated. So if we're looking at a chapter outline for back pain, and if you want to use this, use it. I just made these up yesterday. Common diagnoses could be chapter 1, moving from suffering to merely hurting. One of the things that Dr. Stanley Paris talked about when I was in PT school in St. Augustine is how people are suffering when they don't know why they're in pain. And once you tell them why they're in pain, how you feel like you can help them, and what you're going to do, they go from suffering to just hurting. And that's probably the best talk I've ever heard anybody give on pain. And that has stuck with me for the last 12 years, 11, 12 years, whenever he gave that speech to our class, that I really believe that when people are in pain and don't know why, but they're suffering. And once you take them and tell them why and what you can do, then they're just hurting then. Solutions for flexion-based, solutions for extension, sleeping away, working without worry, hopping back into your hobbies. These are horrible chapter titles. Establishing exercise habits, preventing further injury, lifting with support, how to find it, living with support, It could also be lifting with support. And then bonus chapters could be, hey, this is the group I've created to help you talk about back pain. So here we go. Now we're bringing people into that community and building that tribe that we've talked about. You're giving them more value than what they expected because they just wanted a book, but now you're actually giving them a group and a community to belong to where you can answer further questions and foster a better relationship. Maybe you send them to your website where you blog about this daily or vlog about it daily, and you have experts that come on and talk about things. Maybe you have videos where they can go and look at the different exercises that you've put in the book and show ideas of you with the equipment that you may want them to use. Maybe in this book, I didn't put this, but I've built I've built something to put under somebody's mattress to help them stand up out of bed out of PVC pipe. Maybe you put some things that you've learned how to build over the years as a therapist or whatever to help them. Maybe you put that in this section. Maybe you offer to do a phone call with them or send them to your Calendly link where they can set up a meeting with you. Or maybe you offer some telehealth and just talk about that. I don't know, but this could be a huge thing that now you said, hey, this is what you're going to learn, but here's a bonus. This is where I can continue to help you. Don't just read my book, put it on the shelf and never do anything else with it. You can actually talk to me and spend time with me if you want to. Okay. So this may be free. Some of it may be paid. You'll have to decide what the best route is for that. So the next thing is, how do we outline each chapter? Well, if we have common diagnoses, we've already talked about the ones that we can put, and there's countless, others that you can put in here. There's so many back diagnoses that we probably don't really know what they all are. Something else I just thought of, and I'm thinking about doing this for a shoulder pain book I'm doing. Maybe you could go into common surgeries and just educate on what the surgeries are and why people have them. Nothing in depth, just maybe a little bullet point, maybe 1 page per surgery, and it adds some content to your book. It makes you more of an expert, and it also educates people, because I tell you what, I would be scared to know that I was about to have a surgery and I didn't even know why I was having it, which is what I would say maybe 80 to 90% of people who have physical therapy don't know exactly why they had their surgery, especially with the back. The second thing could be, then you're doing the solutions, and then sleeping away back pain, position, equipment, bedding. Maybe here you have a link in the sleeping away back pain chapter on this is how to position yourself at night, and you have somebody, your spouse or your friend or another therapist or whatever, help you demonstrate how to sleep at night and the best position, if we even know what that is. So there's all kinds of ideas on how you can turn this book into so many other things. So this is a good point to really start the research. I wish I had the pile of research here. So I have a patient right now who's a former medical librarian who researched everything for me on a back pain book for frequently asked questions for low back pain. And I have a stack of research articles that answers all 27 questions that I have, or 36, I can't remember how many. But this is a good point to start your research, because we know you're the expert. We know you're the authority, but you still need to back up your content, okay? People don't want to hear, well, this is just because I know. They still want to see proof, okay? So you need to have it. I'm not saying you have to have 300 references or 100 or 50, but there needs to be some references, guys. So here's where you can find some BMC Medicine, American Journal of Medicine, PubMed, Google Scholar, other books, other professionals. You can interview people for your book. You could maybe interview Stuart McGill. He's the back pain guy that just popped into my head. Maybe you go interview Chris Johnson, PT out on the West Coast, that talks about sports running injuries. If you have a running book, you can do that. You can say, hey, Will Boyd, could I reach out to you and talk to you about social media management and put a chapter in my book with you? You don't necessarily have to pay that person anything. You just have to be upfront with them. Say, hey, I want to write a book. I'd like to use some, have a contributor, and I would like that to be you. So there's all kinds of places you can find research and reference. You can get other experts, all kinds of stuff like that. So let's get back to the basics here. Let's go back to the mind map when you're creating your chapters, okay? Let's go back to, sleeping away back pain. Let's write that on a piece of paper, and then let's write down every idea that we have for that, okay? If we're going to do that, oh my goodness, I don't have my markers, but if we're going to do that, we're just going to put a circle in the middle of the page and say, sleeping away back pain. I'm just going to write lines. We're just doing a mind map, guys. If you don't know what that is, Google it, but it's really easy to do. And you just start writing down ideas on the title, on the chapter that you're writing. And then later you just go back and you circle each thing, and you really find what's crucial over here. So, oh, I want to put that over there, and I'm going to put this here. And then you know what you're going to teach people to solve their problem. Pretty simple. We're going to organize each key. I like step-by-step order. Maybe you don't like that, but I think it's good for the book. And say, step one, you're going to get in your bed. Step two, you're going to put a towel roll in your pillowcase. Step three, you're going to roll over onto your side. Step four, you're going to bring your scapula forward. Step five, you're going to put a pillow between your knees, so on and so forth. And then you do it like that. But we want to have our books organized into a beginning phase. Start here. This is what you do first. Read this chapter, introduction, whatever. And then we're going to go into solving the problem, which would be kind of step two of your book. And then problem solved and patient transformed or reader transformed. That's really the gist of a book, and that's all you have to do. So we're going to take each chapter outline. Once you get it written, let's upload it into a Google Doc, or let's print it. You can put Google Docs on every one of your devices, and it automatically saves it when you work on it. Or you can just print it out and take it with you, and now you're ready to work on your stuff from anywhere. You can drive down the road and don't have it written in front of you maybe on the road, but maybe look at a topic before you leave to go to work. If you drive, if you're doing home health and you're driving all day, then maybe you speak your book all day, and you can speak. So if I was speaking books back when I was doing home health on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I could have spoken 30,000 words a day, because I was driving all over, and the way it's set up here in Louisiana, I was driving 20, 30 minutes between patients. That's plenty of time to dictate your book. So guys, really, once this part is done, you're almost published. Like, yeah, you're going to have to edit, you're going to format and do things, but you've already got the book done. You have to do something daily to get this done. I would suggest setting a schedule. We can talk about this more in a later lesson, but setting a schedule and say, I'm going to spend an hour each day, or I'm going to spend 30 minutes, or I'm going to do 1,000 words a day, whatever it is, and get your book done. We can use the Otter app. I'll have a link to it in here. If you've been listening to me in my Facebook group, you know what the Otter app is, but it's basically just an app that you get on your phone. It is an app you get on your phone, and you dictate into the app. It's really easy, guys. You just push record and you start talking. And that you can also log in online, otter.ai, I believe. I'll put it in the comments later or in the other module, but you can get into that and you can say it on your phone and then bring the dictation into your computer at home. And then you can just get working on it every day. Guys, we've talked about 40,000 words. 40 to 65,000 words is the average book that people write. If you do that, we want to get your book done in 90 days. That's only 445 words a day. There's no telling how many words I've already spoken on this video today. So guys, any of y'all can do that. 445 words a day is possible for the busiest mom, the busiest orthopedic surgeon, the busiest PT, busiest dad, whoever. It's possible. 445 words a day is nothing. It is that simple, guys. You can have your book done just like that. We can get it edited, formatted, and then you're ready to go. So guys, I hope that lesson was helpful, and I'll see you in just a little while in module lesson 5.